Title: Shadows in the Walls. Part 4. Ethan hit the bottom of the pit hard. His body ached, his head pounding. The stench of decay choked him. He coughed, his hands sinking into the wet, spongy ground beneath him. The darkness was alive. He could feel it breathing. "You almost disappointed us," the veiled figure's voice echoed from above. The pit lit up with a sickly red glow. Ethan gasped. Bodies surrounded him, half buried in the fleshy ground. His parents. Lily. Their eyes stared blankly upward, their mouths opening and closing as if trying to scream. "No!" Ethan crawled toward them, pulling at his mother's hand. Her skin sloughed off beneath his fingers, revealing dark, rotting muscle. "You can save them," the figure's voice drifted from the shadows, "but only if you accept your place." Ethan turned. The veiled figure stood above him. Its face was more visible now, hollow eyes, gray skin stretched thin over jagged bones. Its mouth split into a smile too wide, too deep. "What? Place?" Ethan choked. "You were marked at birth." The figure's long fingers traced the bleeding symbols carved into Ethan's skin. "Your blood is special." Lily's voice floated through the dark. "Ethan, help us." He looked down at Lily. Her pale hands reached toward him. "What do I have to do?" The figure crouched close, the stench of death leaking from beneath its veil. "Take my hand." Ethan hesitated, then slowly reached out. The figure's long fingers wrapped around his wrist. Cold fire burned through his veins. The ground beneath him began to pulse. His parents and Lily's faces twisted in agony. "Stop," Ethan screamed. "You can save them." "But someone must take their place," the figure whispered. Ethan's body trembled violently. The symbols on his arms glowed, searing into his flesh. "Choose." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. His parents' faces were twisting now, dissolving into the fleshy ground. Lily's pale hand clutched his shirt. "Ethan, please," Lily whispered. His lips trembled. I can't." "Choose," the figure hissed. Ethan squeezed his eyes shut. "Take me." The figure's mouth curled unnaturally wide. "Good boy." The hands in the pit released Ethan and wrapped around Lily instead. Her mouth opened in a silent scream as the hands dragged her down into the dark. "No!" Ethan lunged forward, grabbing her hand. Her fingers slipped through his. "Ethan." Her voice ripped through the dark as her face disappeared beneath the fleshy ground. The figure stepped back. "A sacrifice is a sacrifice." Ethan's body hit the ground. He stared at the spot where Lily had disappeared. The pit's walls faded, and suddenly he was back in his house. His parents were standing there, smiling, but their eyes were wrong, too wide, too dark. "Morning, Ethan," his mom said. "Breakfast is ready." His dad's head twitched unnaturally as he smiled. "You did the right thing," his dad said. Ethan stood frozen. His arms still burned with the glowing symbols. His breath quickened. He stepped toward his parents. "Where's Lily?" His mom's smile widened unnaturally. "Who's Lily?" The end.